Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to show you guys what my number one favorite mixing tool is, which is Multiband Compression. I'm going to show you guys how to use it to help your mixes sound a lot better and just help some of your sounds sit in the mix a lot better. So I'm going to be using this track that I'm working on as an example that's in need of some mixing work, so hopefully we can fix some of the problems with some multiband compression. So here's what it sounds like. So to me, it sounds like the bass is kind of overpowering the whole mix, and there's some kind of annoying frequencies that are popping out from the bass sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and solo the main bass so we can hear it. So it sounds like the sub frequencies are way too loud, and there's some annoying kind of clicks every time the transients are hitting. And the best way to fix that would be multiband compression. So when to use an EQ versus a multiband compressor? You use an EQ when the problem you're having is constant throughout the whole track. But you want to use a multiband compressor when the problem isn't constant and it just comes out with certain notes that your synth or bass is playing. So I'm going to go ahead and open my favorite multiband compressor, which is FabFilter's multiband compressor. And it looks like this when you load it up. So to add a new frequency band, all I have to do is just click on here. And right now I'm just going to control those sub-frequencies a little bit. So you can see down here you have all the controls that you have on a normal compressor, but it's only affecting the frequency band that I set with these two bars right here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this all the way to 30 Hertz and this somewhere around like 150, just so I'm controlling the sub-frequencies right now. And this is better than an EQ in this case because it's not constantly suppressing the sound like 6 decibels or whatever. It's only doing it when it needs to. When the input of the bass goes above a certain level, that's when the compressor is kicking in. So now I'm going to try to fix that annoying click sound that's happening. And it definitely seems like it's happening up here. I can use this solo function to see. So now I'm going to see how that sounds in the overall mix. So it's sounding a lot better already. I'm going to go ahead and tame these like low mids and mids right here just a little bit as well, but not as drastically as I did with the other two bands. So I kind of forgot to go over what each function does in here, but it's just the same thing as a normal compressor. The threshold is a level that you set, and when the input level goes above that threshold, that's when the compressor will kick in. And the range here is how much you want the sound to be compressed once it goes over that threshold. So if it's going over the threshold now, I can reduce the range to suppress that sound even more. And the attack is when the input level goes over the threshold that you set. How slow or fast does the compressor start working? And likewise, the release is when the sound comes back above that threshold. How long does it take for the compressor to stop working? So those are kind of just the basic controls you need to know. So I'm going to go back to working on this little mid section right here. cool things you can do with FabFilter's multiband compressor is use an expander so you can increase the frequencies of certain sounds if you want to, if they go above the threshold. So for an example, if I want my high end to pop a little bit more on this bass, I can click here and I'll click down here to expander, and you'll see how when it goes above the threshold, it'll expand to the range that I set now. I'll solo the bass so it'll be easier to hear the difference. So you can hear it kind of helps the transient of that high end pop a little bit. So I'm going to keep that in there but kind of reduce it a little bit to sit in the mix better. So here's what that bass sounded like before multiband compression. And now it sounds like this. It just sounds a lot more controlled, and now it'll sit in the overall mix a lot better. Compared to what it used to be. So now the bass is just a lot more controlled and sits a lot better in the mix. Now it kind of sounds like there's a problem area with the leads too that I can use a multiband compressor on too. So I'm going to go to my lead bus. I'm going to solo my leads first so you guys can hear it. So I'm going to add a multiband compressor in here. I'm going to find that kind of problem frequency that I'm looking for. It's definitely in this area right here. So I'm going to go ahead and tame those frequencies a little bit. And if you can't really hear what the multiband compressor is doing, just turn this range all the way down and A-B it, and it'll become way more apparent, and then you can kind of mix it back in to your liking. So now that sounds a lot better to me. Now it kind of sounds like the low end of the leads are kind of popping out a little too much too, so I'm going to work on those as well. Yeah, those frequencies like right there. So let's see how that sounds in the overall mix now. So now I think the lead is just sitting a lot better in the mix, and the overall mix just sounds a lot cleaner now. So hopefully this video was helpful to some of you guys. I use multiband compression all the time when I'm mixing. It just helps me get my sounds a lot cleaner and sit a lot better in the mix as a whole. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.